The story of Adam.
I'm going to win again, Birdie.
Thomas, will you please slow down? Oh dear, this is much too fast.
Looks like they're not enjoying the ride, Thomas. Whoa! Oh, Trevor, get out of the way!
Oh, hello there, Bertie. A lovely day, isn't it?
Ah, not fair.
Haha, that Birdie. All these years and he still thinks he can beat me.
You've proven it enough times, Thomas. Indeed, dear. Now please, slow down.
No way! I'm winning! I'm going to keep it that way.
Oh, Thomas! Look out!
Huh? Oh no!
Thomas?
Percy, what are you doing on my line?
I've broken down! Didn't you see the red signal?
Red signal?
I like the new paint colour. It really suits you. See you at the station, slow coach.
You were racing again, weren't you?
This is going to take a long time to clean up. I'll have to report this to the Fat Controller.
Oh no. He's going to be very cross with me.
Thomas the Tank Engine, I'm very cross with you. How many times have I told you about racing on my railway? Today has proven just how dangerous it really is. As a result, I will be sending you to work at Whiff's Waste Dump for the next week. Toby will take over pulling Annie and Caravel in the meantime.
Yes, sir.
No engines these days.
Looks like it's off to the smelly waste dump with you, Thomas.
I don't envy you.
It's not fair. I've been racing on my branch line for years and haven't had one incident until now. Meanwhile, Gordon gets to race Spencer every chance he gets and never gets into trouble.
That's because I've never had an accident while racing. You're too overconfident, little Thomas. Now it's come back to bite you in the bunker.
That's a good one, Gordon.
All right, you three, that's enough. It's been a trying day for him.
Oh, come on, Edward. We're just having a little fun. No harm in that.
Well, it isn't funny, James. There could have been an even more serious accident. Then none of you would be laughing.
Thank you, Edward.
That goes for you as well, Thomas. I know how much you enjoy challenging Birdie to races, but you have got to be more careful. What if Annie and Clarabelle had derailed? Or if Percy had been taking passengers? People very well may have been hurt, or even worse. You know, that reminds me of a story about another overconfident engine.
Edward? You don't mean the one about Adam, do you?
The very same.
Adam? Who's Adam?
I've never heard about Adam. Could you tell the story, Edward?
I suppose, but I must warn you, it doesn't exactly have a happy ending.
And this was the story Edward told. The story of Adam.
Long ago, before the railway was called the Northwestern, there were several other railways that kept the island running. On what would later become my branch line, lived a tank engine named Adam. Adam was a hard-working tank engine. There was no job that he couldn't do. He worked so hard that he was often loaned to the other railways if they needed assistance. One autumn morning, his controller came to see him.
Ah, Adam, I'm glad to see you've gotten those trucks shunted so quickly.
Yes, sir, Mr. Crosby. All ready for tonight's train. Is there something you need?
Yes, in fact. I've had a request from the controller of the railway on the coast. One of their box tanks is out of service, and they're in need of a shunter for some trains near the harbour. I've offered your assistance.
Oh, I'd be happy to help, sir. But what about my train?
Oh, don't worry about that. I'll have Shen take over for you tonight.
Yes, sir. I'll be sure to make you proud.
That's a good engine. Off you go, then.
Hello, Neil.
Hello, Adam. It's been a while since I've seen you around these parts. Have you come to take over Clive's work?
Yes, I have.
Oh, that's great. I've been rushed off my wheels all day. And that big thing over there hasn't been any help.
Who is he?
Engine from the mainland. He bought a train of tourists over the ferry last night. They've just got back in, but he hasn't been able to get steam up. Could you get his coaches round for me, please? They're a bit heavier than I'm used to.
Sure thing. I'm great with shunting coaches.
About time! I was wondering if one of those boxes were going to fetch my coaches. Oh. Still not a real engine, but I suppose you're adequate.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, nothing. You're just quite the oddly shaped fella, aren't you? Surprised they'd even let you out of the shops.
Humph. I'll have you know I'm more than capable to work perfectly fine.
If you say so. Just fetch my coaches and have them ready at the station like a good shunter.
I'm not just a shunter. I've pulled many trains. In fact, I could probably pull this train even better than you ever could.
Oh, I doubt that. You're only just a common shunter after all. You'd never be able to achieve the speed a big engine like me is capable of. You probably would never even make it to the mainland.
That's a lot of talk for a big engine who can't even get steam up.
What are you... Ooh.
I've done all I can, it's not staying lit.
Well, seems that's that then. We've tried everything. Your fire just won't stay lit. Sorry, old boy. Afraid we're stuck here.
But what about my train? And the passengers?
I'm afraid that unless we can find a way to get them home, they're stuck here too.
Now's my chance to prove to him I can pull this train. Maybe I can even do it better. Then I'll be sure to make Mr. Crosby proud. I can take the train.
What? You take the train? My train?
Sure I can. I'll show you just what a common shunter is really made of.
If you really think you can do it, I don't see why not. I'll just go speak with the guard and the station master. You best fill up on coal and water.
Right away, sir.
Are you sure this is a good idea, Adam?
Sure it is. I know I was sent here to help you, but I've got a chance to put that guy in his place. I promise I'll be back as soon as I can to help you. It'll be like I never even left. Trust me.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Whoops.
Oh, careful, midget! These are passengers you're hauling, not livestock or whatever you're used to.
Where is that guard's whistle?
Oh, calm down, Adam. We've only been waiting for a few minutes.
That's a few minutes less than I can be speeding down the line.
At last, the guard walked up to the cab.
Sorry about that. I left my lunch in the waiting room. Man, oh man, it's raining cats and dogs out here.
Indeed. Best get going now. We might be delayed more if this weather doesn't get any better.
We're not going to be delayed. I'll make sure of it. Finally. Come on! Come on!
Well, I'll be.
Adam confidently pulled out of the station and happily began his journey to the mainland. However, unknown to him or his crew, they would never get there.
It's really coming down now. I'm glad the roads aren't closed.
Still late. Guess I'll just fudge it in the log.
Hey, we get paid either way. Doesn't matter to me. Now then, anything I need to know?
Nothing unusual. Weather's probably going to delay that supply train for Vickerstown. Oh, and that tourist train from yesterday is heading back to Barrow, but they had to switch engines. Apparently the one that brought them here couldn't get steam up, so they're delayed. Said they'd give a whistle whenever they got near.
Oh, those steam engines can never be reliable. Wish they'd come up with something different. Just push a button or something and start them.
Yeah, sure. When cars drive themselves.
Well, that was a close one.
Looks like it's getting pretty bad out there. Might stay here a bit longer.
This storm is getting really rough, but I must go on.
Whoa there, Adam. I know we're behind schedule, but you don't need to rush. I don't know what's gotten into him today. I've never seen him push himself like this.
Not sure, but I wish he'd calm down. He's taken up a lot of coal. Oh, goodness! Oh, I can't see a thing out there. Shouldn't we be approaching that junction about now?
I would think so. We're supposed to whistle when we reach it, but I can't see a thing.
There we are. That was the distance signal, I think.
Alright, if you say so.
Good gracious. You could hear that one almost before you could see it.
Glad I'm not out in that mess.
I don't envy anyone who is. Was that the tourist train?
Maybe. You set the points for the main, right?
You said they were going to whistle when they were near. I didn't hear any whistle.
They're set on the wrong line!
Wait, stop!
Stop!
You're on the wrong line! Stop!
Ha ha! We're on the main line now. Time to show everyone what I've got. Make up for lost time.
Adam, you're not running a race.
We're on the main line now. If I can go mainline speeds, surely I can make up for lost time.
He makes a good point.
Very well. A little faster.
That's odd. I don't remember a section where the main line is single-tracked. Something isn't right. This isn't the main line!
What's that, Adam?
Brakes! Brakes!
What's wrong? Oh, glory!
Hey Adam, what was that bump? Did we hit something?
Terrible.
Get help! The train is just gone.
There's got to be people trapped in there. We need search and rescue immediately.
Where's the crew?
You need to fetch help. There still might be time to save some of them.
Right.
What happened?
I'm not fully sure, but we need help. Can you please go back to the box and call someone? Anyone. I'm gonna go see if I can save anyone.
Right.
What have we done?
Hello? Whoa, slow down. What's happened? Oh goodness. I'll send anything I can right away. Right everyone, there's been an emergency. The tourist train has had a major accident. I need everyone on deck. Neil, I need you to go and fetch the remaining coaches and the survivors.
Survivors? Sir, what about Adam? Is he alright?
I don't know, Neil. It didn't sound good.
You!
What? What are you looking at me like that for?
You did this. Adam only volunteered to take that train to prove to you that he could. If anything has happened to him, it's on you.
I'll show you just what a common shelter is really made of.
Oh my. He's right. This is on me. Oh no.
Adam? Adam! Adam!
They went under, Neil. They're gone.
How could this have happened?
The points at the junction weren't set right. Apparently, in the blinding rain, Adam and his crew believed they were on the main line.
He was making up for lost time. It was that big engine's fault.
Could we get some assistance over here?
Right, I'm on it.
A few hours went by, and the survivors had been taken away, either to the hospital or by bus back to Kirk Ronan. Neil was helping to put the derailed coaches back on the line.
I just can't believe something like this could happen. He wasn't even supposed to be on this train.
Neil.
Huh? Who said that?
Neil.
Adam? Adam!
I'm sorry. I should have stayed. I was supposed to help you. I'm sorry.
Adam! Where did he go?
I'm sorry, mate. They're lost in the river.
But I just saw him.
The workmen are still looking for the wreckage, but there's been no sign of them. I'll go and see if there's any news.
Did I just see a ghost then?
Right-o, Neil. We managed to re-rail the second coach. Being empty, I think you should be able to get it back to the station.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Neil, you're back. How's Adam? Is he all right? Neil, where's Adam? Neil, is Adam all...
Adam is gone! He's not coming back.
I'm so sorry. You look pale. Are you all right? You look like you've seen a ghost.
I think I might have.
Oh, how so?
Well, I was told that Adam drowned in the river. But all their searches have come up with nothing. But I swear to you, I saw Adam sitting on the old bridge next to the crash site. He apologised for leaving me. I know it sounds silly, but I'm telling the truth.
I believe you. I've witnessed it myself once. A few years ago. One of my brothers had a very bad accident as well. A luggage cart was left on the tracks. He saw it too late to stop in time. When the dust cleared, many people were severely injured, and even worse. As for my brother, he was gone. I had to help with rescue operations and clean up. However, when I first arrived, I saw my brother. He looked at me and smiled. Then he simply disappeared. I know it's not going to change anything, but I want you to know I'm truly sorry for being so rude to you two. I only wish now I had a chance to tell Adam.
You know, I don't think Adam's apology was just for me.
What do you mean?
I think he meant it as an apology to himself as well. Maybe as a means of accepting what happened. Perhaps a way to move on. Or maybe a path to forgiveness. I don't think he'd want anyone going around being angry at each other and placing blame. So, I won't be.
Thank you, Neil.
I've just received word all the injured are being tended to in hospital. I've set up the return train in the morning to get everyone back home. Patriot, will you be able to take it?
Of course, sir. I'll make it the best service I've ever pulled. In honor of Adam. A really useful engine. Goodbye, Neil. Make sure he's never forgotten.
I'll be sure of it.
Patriot traveled carefully along the branch line, lost in his thoughts. As he approached the junction, he gave a blast of his whistle.
I'm sorry, Adam. I'm so sorry.
I forgive you.
How did this accident happen?
There are rumors going around that you were meant to be on the train. Is that true?
I don't know all the facts right now. The investigation has really only begun. And yes, it's true. I was supposed to take the train yesterday. However, due to some complications, I was unable to do so. And that's when a hard-working and very kind tank engine offered to take the train. He was lost in the river after the accident, and his name was Adam. So please, don't forget him.
Do you have any comment on the second accident last night? Is the island of Sodor actually safe?
Second accident?
Yes, an engine hit a landslide last night, and it's disappeared into a valley as well.
I don't know anything about that. But I'm sure the Sodor Times will provide you all with updates once more information comes out. Good day.
A few years later, the Northwestern Railway was formed, and some of those old lines were shut down and abandoned. But, during the restoration of the Kirk-Ronan line, not long ago, workmen and engines claimed to have heard a mysterious whistle echoing through the valley, reminding everyone of an engine who will never reach its destination. Do you see now what can happen if you get in over your smoke box, Thomas?
I suppose I never thought about it like that. Thank you for the story, Edward.
No one may have been hurt today, but I really hope you'll be more careful in future.
I will be, Edward. And Percy, I'm sorry.
It's okay, Thomas. I forgive you.
There's one thing I still don't understand. If Patriot has been to Sodor before, why did he never mention it?
I don't know, Gordon. Perhaps it's just one of those things that one wants to keep to themselves.
Oh, Sigmund. I wish you were still here.
There's no need to be sad, my brother.
What the... Sigmund? How are you here?
I've always been with you, in spirit. Always have, always will be.
Good night, my brother. Good night.
strikes Halloween. When the clock strikes Halloween.
The last day of September is truly the day to fear, because that is when our safety ends. October is when the fragile veil is broken between the living and the dead. From the 1st to the 30th, it's broken bit by the creatures that have